Yes, devotees, please go ahead. Yes, any devotee would like to share something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Lavanya Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
One point, Prabhu. So Maharaj mentioned following Bhagavatam is not become a sannyasi, is for learn duties of our life, understanding about Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what are the prescribed duties we should learn from that. That one, Prabhu, I want to share.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. Any other devotee? Any bullet points?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I joined little late. In the last moment, Maharaj was explaining that Sranvanti Gayanti, that part. Can you just brief on that, Prabhu?
Okay. So, yeah, so Maharaj was saying that the hearing and assimilation. So, not just hearing. So, I think he was quoting Prabhupada that just hearing is not sufficient. We should hear, we should assimilate, we should take in heart, and then live the life accordingly as what we heard. So, what we hear, we should apply that as well. That's the point you were saying, Prabhu. Sharbari Mataji, you raised the hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I mean, be it a businessman or be it a sannyasi, both are maintained by the Supreme Lord. So that point I liked very much. And also, we think that we are independent, but that is not actually the way. We should be fully dependent on Krishna, and then the mercy can flow. So that point was also nice. And lastly, the Sangha he mentioned, and we have this Sangha through this virtual medium. So that was also, it felt really great that we are having this consistently for years now, and we have it so beautifully. So an appreciation for that. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, Mataji. I was thinking the same when Maharaj told this. Yes, any other devotee? Maharaj said one place that the fruity spirit is very strong even after we begin the spiritual life. Maybe any thoughts on that particular statement from devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanwad Pranam.
Yes,
I have one more question. Sorry, I'm not answering your question, but I have another question. What can be baby steps to increase the dependence on Krishna? We can't take drastic steps, but what can be our baby steps?
Okay, what can be our baby step to depend on Krishna, surrender on Krishna?
Yes, to increase the dependence upon Krishna.
Oh, yeah.
Because we feel that we are completely dependent upon ourselves. Like we are living because we are doing, we have studied, we have done. So it's everything what we have done. We don't realize that everything was done actually by Krishna. So, but how can we realize it more? How can we depend little more?
Very nice question. I would request devotees to open up and then share. Maybe Kumarika Mataji, something from your side on this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think it is what Sarvari Mataji also now said about it, that we think that we are maintaining it because we are having this job and we are earning the money, that we are maintaining ourselves. When we little do we realize that the ability comes from Krishna, and however we think that we are intelligent and we are doing the effort, so we deserve what we are getting. But the first thing we have to change is that realizing the fact that Prakriti Kriya Manani. So it's all done because some ability has been given to us by Krishna. Anytime he can withdraw it. So once we know that we are fully dependent on his mercy for our functioning, then I think it will come. That is and that is what I liked when Maharaj said that we think that we are maintained by ourselves, but we are not maintained by ourselves.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. So, Mushekar Prabhu, any further thoughts
Um,
or any other
One,
point?
one more point. My question is actually, Prabhuji and Mataji, is after realizing it, like once you are really satisfied that what I am able to do, what I can do, is only because of Krishna. After that fact, what can be to realize it? What practical baby steps we can take, basically?
Yes. Yeah. Somushekar Prabhu on this or any other?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Not sure if I have a complete answer for that, um, but the last sentence which Maharaj spoke, and I think that said assimilation. So hearing is important, and once we hear the process, that I would say hearing purifies, and materially we can say that's the theoretical aspect. The next step is to practically implement it, assimilation in our daily lives. We take gradual steps. And Maharaj said in the previous class that the only reason why we are not yet there completely purified is because of our own efforts, our inability to get detached from the material. So the process of assimilation is simultaneously, that is developing our attachment to him, and simultaneously we are giving up something material. Either it is the time that we spend for other things, or spending on other things, accumulating things which are not necessary. So gradually, as we start practically implementing it, like through the process of sadhana, in the morning when we get up, we devote time for chanting, for hearing, for reading, for preparing, offerings for the Lord, and all of that takes time. All of that involves our consciousness in a particular manner in which it's purifying. And then we get to work, we come back, and then in the evening we have a sadhana again. So gradually, as we start pushing ourselves to assimilate what we have heard, uh, in terms of what we do and how we deal with others, we gradually find ourselves getting detached from the material and moving towards the simple life that Srila Prabhupada is giving in his puppet. So it's the steps that we take, and each time we take 2 steps today, maybe 3 steps tomorrow, maybe next week we set a target and say maybe next week we take 4 steps. So if we have some kind of manner in which we keep increasing the assimilation process, I think that's how. And as it says in today's class as well, Maharaj pointed out our progress. We begin to feel ourselves. We begin to feel that we are being protected, and we begin to feel that we're being cared. Every day, in small things, we notice His presence, and that is, if I may say, proof of the pudding, or proof that what we are doing is leading to progress. Although it's not that we are looking forward to that, but we start feeling that bit by bit. So I hope that made sense, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I like what you said, gradual step. It's not 0 and 1, but slowly. Yeah. There are devotees raising hand, but before that, I think Vinodini Mataji raised the hand. Mataji, you can just share. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, Prabhu, answering to Shweta Mataji's question, most of the point was covered by Somshekhar Prabhu, what I wanted to say. Humility, without humility, dependence will not come. And humility will come only when we, as Prabhu was saying, Somshekhar Prabhu was saying, that when we try to be regulated in matters of eating time, waking up time, sleeping time, chanting, reading, exercising, everything, and we realize that it's not possible to wake up on time every day, day after day. And Maharaj has been doing this for so many years now. This lecture was in 2000 somewhere, but 25 years down the line, he's regulated. And when we try to implement what we have heard or assimilated, then we feel, oh my Krishna, it's not possible for me. Please help me. So that time the dependence comes. So these are the small steps that we can take in being regulated. When we try to be regulated in our life, then we realize that we are failing miserably, and then that dependence comes. So that's it from my side.
Amazing.
Somshekha pointed out most of them. So
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Shamguni Prabhu and then Brajeshwari Mataji.
Can we hear Rajeshwari Pranmataji first and then I'll go later?
Yes, Prabhu. I was thinking the same. Brajeshwari Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. I don't have much, but Somshekhar Prabhu nicely covered and Vinodni Mataji also added. But when I was hearing Shweta Mataji's question, as you are also saying, it is not either 0 that I don't have realization and one day I'll be realized, I'll become one. The realization here can be taken as a faith, and we can see the stages of the faith that Ataur, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, all this. Unless until one has the faith which we are developing during our hearing and Bhajana Kriya process, all this, we will not have the complete realization that Krishna is my maintainer. That's one thing. And it is not so easy that, okay, I realized that Krishna is my maintainer and I'm completely dependent on him. It is not that sentimental or just by knowing that we understood it. It is the assimilation again. It comes the application in our life, how at each and every activity or services we are taking, we get an opportunity to show that. One example when I remember is about the Sangha today when Maharaj was mentioning. It is regulated, structured, and some homeworks and some discussions were there on these sessions, Sangha. So was remembering, I think 17 years before, when I first came in contact with Shyam Kun Prabhu and Vinodni Mataji, very few were there. I think only me and Prabhu or 1 or 2 devotees may. That's all I think. He used to conduct these kind of sessions through this free conference call. And from that day till today, he is there in the Sangha to develop and to give whatever is Maharaj is giving. And many of us were walked out and walked in whenever we want and whenever we want to hear. But he consistently doing this for the sake of Guru Maharaj. And that is Sangha, and that is the sincerity, that is the like depending on Krishna, not expecting the results which I can see practically in my life through Shamkun Prabhu and Vinodini Mataji's sacrifices. So they have a lot of faith on Guru. That's how they were able to continue this, irrespective of the presence of the people. That's it, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, Shyam Kunda Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, right outside my house, there's a big Hanuman deity who's going to be installed. So there's a lot of background music happening. Are you hearing the background music also?
Not at all, Prabhu.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay. So to add to Shweta Mataji's question, to answer Shweta Mataji's question here, some thoughts which others have said, but adding, I want to emphasize a few things. There is the internal life of a devotee, and there is the external life. The qualities that is being mentioned, dependence, is an internal life. For most of us, focusing on internal life from the beginning is very, very, very tough. And even when we try to focus on this internal life, we get into sometimes a loop of self-doubt. We get into a loop of maybe overconfidence. It gets into various other ways. And therefore, it is very important to have external things. In the classic Vedic system, a person was taught dependence right from childhood by asking him to go to an ashram, and he had to beg for the spiritual master or for the guru. Every day he had to go and beg. And if he would get the food, that day the wife of the guru would cook for him, cook for everybody. If they didn't get anything sufficient, it will be cooked, but some will be fasting, some will get more. Maybe the younger children will get more, the older children would have to fast. And they learned dependence. They learned submission. Dependence and submission go hand in hand. They learned both of them. So external activities actually help for us to cultivate this internal mood of dependence. And for us, some of the external activities that we all should engage are that number one, we should become instrumental in the prachar, in the propagation of Krishna Bhakti. And when we do it, we realize over a period of time, I myself do not have any attraction to Krishna, and I am trying to speak about this to somebody else. That is when dependence comes. Dependence happens when we are powerless. We have to do or take a project in which we feel powerless. The more we feel that we are in our comfort zone, dependence doesn't come. So Srila Prabhupada has given us this wonderful thing where of being an instrument in the prachara of Krishna Bhakti. Various ways. It need not always be talking. It can just be arranging some things for others, etc. So it's at various levels, whatever is, how much ever it is tough for us, to that level we have to push ourselves, not to accomplish alone, but to uncover within ourselves how much pride I have in my abilities, how much uh, of no reliance on anything else. I just believe that by my own abilities I can do something. So that prachar or the project is important. There may be other projects also that similarly which help in glorifying the Supreme Lord. Which one should work either with devotees or non-devotees, but exclusively for Krishna. In other words, when we go to office or when we clean or if you're a housewife at home, something like that, it becomes very normal. I have to do this to maintain my daily living. Somehow, maintaining daily living so overwhelms our consciousness that it is very tough to bring independence many times. So we have to take up an additional project which is not for my daily maintenance. It, it is for somebody else. I will not get anything from it, but I'm asked, but I have to do it. This is my duty to do it. So one has to take up some project. It could be the Prachar project, as I said, or it could be something else also. Then the other way of having the dependence is that when we go for Prachar and when we go for these projects, we ask or we closely are guided by a devotee. And one of the first things that happens, which our mind will rebel, is maybe that person is good, maybe the person is well intentioned, but that person doesn't understand me. I think I should do it better. And the more and more we beat our mind and do things the way that the other nice devotee would say, it so happens that we gradually transform ourselves from being a person who accomplishes something to a person who is an instrument for another devotee. Only when we come to the stage of being an instrument to fulfill the wishes of another devotee, just like Srila Prabhupada, he was there to fulfill the wish of a spiritual master. When we come to that stage, then the dependence arises. In other words, dependence on Supreme Lord happens after dependence on the devotee of the Supreme Lord. It is not easy to depend on the Supreme Lord just by hearing the pages of the Bhagavatam. People do it, but quite often they are still stuck. They are under the hallucination, thinking that this is what the scriptures say. I am doing it. I am depending on Krishna. But when the live person in front of them is asked, when we are not able to depend on them, or when we don't ask them, then it is tested. Our dependence is tested. So that's one thing. So these are 1, 2, 3 external ones, and number 4 is not as much as these, but still a category in the external one, which is uh, take up some examinations like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and things like that. And over a course of time, we realize that there is a timeline in which we have to do it, but we have so many other things going on in life, and that also helps in depending on Krishna. One way is, come what may, I'm going to do it. But the devotional ways, Krishna, I don't have time, I don't have intelligence, please help me. So this exam is like a transition between the external to the internal. Then comes the next step, which goes more to the internal, which includes serve a deity. And serving a deity means at this time I have to do this part, at that time I have to do that part, etc. And while doing it, my consciousness has to be clean. But for my conscience has to be good, I should have heard things better, I should have studied better. And there are so many people around me who are doing all sorts of nonsense stuff. I should not react angrily to them, because while doing deity service, one should be very mindful of not speaking a bad word, etc., or making others agitated too. And so we have to calm the agitation of our own mind. So in doing this, we come to the limits of what we can do by our own selves, and we have to depend. Krishna, please help me. So this is one more going internal. Then we also visit the holy places. And when we visit the holy place, there is nothing that makes us look like it's holy. If there is somebody who's giving a lecture, yes. But if we go alone, it looks like there is nothing holy about it. Again, that's impetus for us to depend on the Supreme Lord. Then comes the innermost of the innermost, the chanting of the japa. So we go in these like 6, 7 items when we do these, from the external to the between external and internal, and then internal, then the mood of the dependence can develop. Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving those steps, and I can really relate myself that I am not even at first step. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
and
so much.
and I just add to what Rajeshwari Pran Mataji said. Um, I I wouldn't call it. It's been whatever 15 plus years of doing all these things, but it's as much that I too have to depend on devotees. I too am dependent on the devotees. Um, Otherwise, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to taste or even fathom what devotional service is. So it's mutual, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very nice points you shared, internal life versus external life. And the external life instrumental being for prachar, take up some project, and Bhakti Shastri, etc., serving the deity with cleanliness and timeliness, and everything we all know. And what Vinodra Mataji was saying, make the life regulated. So when we do all those things, we know how powerless we feel, and then take the dependence on the Lord. Thank you. And just finally, chanting go deeper and deeper. So thank you so much, all the devotees. Wish you a very happy Sankranti, and we'll meet tomorrow again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.